NBC4 News at 11 a.m. starts with breaking news.
Now at 11, we begin with breaking news. For the first time, we're hearing from civil rights leader Dolores Huerta after accusing Cesar Chavez of raping her. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Annabelle Sedano. Dolores Huerta chose to sit down with Latino USA. It's the longest-running Latino public radio program in the country. The interview follows her written comments to the New York Times following their investigation focused on the allegations of two other women. Those women say that Chavez abused them for years, starting when they were just 12 and 13 years old. Huerta says she remained silent for decades, fearing that speaking out would impact the labor movement she built with Chavez. Here's a portion of that interview, and we want to warn you, it may be difficult to listen to.
I mean, this is just so devastating to think that somebody that everybody admired and respected and thought so highly of, that he would do anything like that. That was just really hard to take. And it's still very hard to process, I think, not only for myself, but for everybody that knew and respected Cesar, volunteers, so many people have sacrificed, to know that he had that dark side of him. And I think that just speaks to the fact that, we have, that there is a lack of respect for women and girls in our society.
And Huerta says the alleged abuse led to 2 pregnancies. She says her daughters were raised by other families, and they didn't find out that Chavez was their father until they took a genealogy test in 2019. Our Amber Frias is listening to this full interview with Huerta. She'll have more of her comments coming up later on the NBC4 News. And we will, of course, bring that to you. Meanwhile, the fallout is growing over the allegations against Chavez. LA Mayor Karen Bass signed a proclamation today making Cesar Chavez Day Farm Workers Day instead. NBC4's Michelle Valles is live at City Hall where the ink is still wet. Michelle, we're seeing these changes happening, and they're happening quickly. And I can't help but think of what this could mean for all of those survivors of sexual abuse.
It's a day of reckoning, and it was a powerful, emotional, and unprecedented moment and day just outside the mayor's office. Mayor Karen Bass, joined by the all-female city council members, signing this proclamation to change Cesar Chavez Day to Farm Workers Day on March 31st, saying they want to ensure that the farm worker movement is not lost amid this growing scandal. Appearing very emotional, the mayor said she has not spoken to her friend, 95-year-old civil rights activist Dolores Huerta, who says Chavez raped her and fathered 2 of her daughters, as you mentioned, Annabelle, adding while proclamations are usually celebratory, this one was not. Leaders and activists, not just here in LA, but across the nation, are grappling with the disturbing rape and sexual abuse allegations against Chavez that surfaced this week. And in response, we're seeing statues covered, celebrations canceled for March 31st, which is the state holiday honoring Chavez, and calls to rename city landmarks that bear his name. There are many of them. Council members today say LA is now leading by example with these quick changes.
I also want to share that I've been in touch with the Chavez family, and they support our decision to rename this holiday. This March 30th and every last Monday of March moving forward will provide an opportunity for Angelenos to reflect on how the struggle of farm workers has elevated working people everywhere.
A movement that exists because of the power of the people. And so many of those people were women. Women who did the hard, often invisible work. Women who organized behind the scenes and on the front lines. Women whose labor held this movement together and whose contributions were often erased.
All of them say the last 48 hours have been very painful, and you really felt it inside that room. Councilmember Rodriguez says she hopes this moment of reckoning extends to other communities, holding anyone accountable who commits egregious acts. We're also going to see some changes at the county level. Supervisor Hilda Solis says she will also introduce a motion to explore renaming the county holiday as well. From City Hall, Michelle Valles, NBC4 News.
An emotional day indeed. Michelle, thank you so much for that. And right now on our NBC LA website, we have a list of the Cesar Chavez Day events that have been renamed, postponed, or canceled here in the state and across the country. You can also read more about Cesar Chavez's complicated legacy. We're following more breaking news. The end of the school year may be disrupted for thousands of students here in LA Unified. Yesterday, the teachers union set a strike date if no deal is reached on a new contract. Well, this morning, the district responded, and NBC4's Guad Venegas was there for that.
Hi, good morning. A date has been set. It'll be April 14th. That would be the beginning of the strike if the union cannot reach a deal with the school district. This was announced yesterday during a rally in downtown Los Angeles. Lots of points being negotiated here, but the school district this morning said they are doing everything they can to find common ground and reach a deal with the teachers, or the union representing the teachers. Now, the acting superintendent was there with members of the board to assure the public and parents that they're doing everything they can to find the common ground and reach a deal. One of the points that have been discussed is the salary increase. The teachers union is asking for a higher increase than what's being offered by the school district at the moment. Now, although they say they believe they will find a deal before April 14th, many are wondering what would happen if the strike begins. This is what the acting superintendent had to say about the possibility of a strike and how they are preparing.
What I can share at this point, and of course we'll have much more information in the weeks to come should that scenario present itself, is that we're working with external partners to see about childcare, food services for our students. We're looking, of course, at the impact on our campuses.
Now, when it comes to the salary negotiations, the acting superintendent said that the school district has offered a guaranteed minimum of 8% in the first 2 years for teachers. He said this would be one of the highest in the state of California, adding that there would be a possibility to renegotiate if the budget for the school district would increase. That, of course, is a number much smaller than the 17% average raise that the union is looking for. So there's still a few weeks for these negotiations to continue, but the date has been set by the teachers union. April 14th is the last day for them to make a deal. If not, the strike would begin for teachers at LAUSD. Back to you.
Our thanks to Guad Venegas. And now the acting superintendent has stated that if all three unions were to strike together, you guys, there is no way that schools could remain open during the strike, and that's according to the acting superintendent. Turning to the heat wave that continues to stretch on, take a look. This is a live look from across Southern California. We could break more records today, so just beware. Meteorologist Stephanie Omo is tracking the first alert forecast, and we've been feeling that heat. I mean, you step outside after being in an air-conditioned room.
Yes.
And you can feel it just slap you in the face.
Right. It's like you're walking into an oven.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, really, especially if you live in the valleys and the Inland Empire. So it is very important to heed to the warnings and advisories that we do have in effect and practice heat safety.
Yes.
You know, it gets hot during the afternoon hours. If you don't have to be outdoors, it's best not to. You want to make sure you are hydrated. Find a cooling place, find an area where you have air conditioning. Right now, we're looking at this live picture of Ontario Airport. It is, when you look out there in the sky, it is gorgeous. We're looking at a nice, beautiful blue sky, plenty of sunshine. Temperatures right now at 83 degrees, and it's not even lunchtime yet, so we know temperatures will continue to climb. Temperatures right now 83, or rather 84 in Riverside, 79 in Anaheim, 83 in Van Nuys, 80 degrees in Santa Clarita. Upper 70s in Lancaster, 82 in Victorville. For the Inland Empire, your hour-by-hour forecast. So this afternoon, plenty of sun. Temperatures in the upper 90s, triple digits. The winds, not bad. They're relatively light as we continue. But look what happens as we head into later on this evening. We're still looking at very warm temperatures, 8, 9 o'clock. Temperatures down into the lower 80s, 70s as we head just around 11, midnight or so, and we'll keep those temperatures anywhere from the 60s to 70s, so not getting much relief during the overnight hours, and that's adding to the heat risk. So a reminder, just practice heat safety. We'll talk more about it when we can expect a cool down in just a bit. For now, back to you, Annabelle.
All right, Steph, thank you so much for that. So this heat wave is sticking around. Remember, by downloading our NBC LA app, you can get weather alerts, a list of cooling centers, and other tips to stay safe. Out of the war in the Middle East, new video shows what U.S. Central Command says is the destruction of Iranian naval targets. The Pentagon now saying today would be the biggest barrage of strikes against Iran so far. NBC's Alice Barr is in Washington with those new developments.
Hi there. Nearly 3 weeks into the war with Iran, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff giving an update today. They honored the 6 American service members who returned in caskets on Wednesday. They were killed when their refueling plane crashed in Iraq during Iran operations, vowing to finish the job for them. Secretary Hegseth said the U.S. military had struck more than 7,000 targets across Iran and its military infrastructure, and noted today would once again see the biggest barrage of strikes against Iran so far. The secretary was pressed about the increased targeting of oil and energy facilities going both ways. Iran hitting sites across Gulf Arab states, U.S. allies that are now outraged. Israel escalating with a widespread strike on Iran's largest gas field. And President Trump threatening further attacks on Iran's oil export hub, Karg Island.
We can hold anything at issue. Anything. The United States military controls the fate of that country. Iran has the ability to make the right choices. It should not, going forward, target Arab allies, Arab countries, trying to create pain, the pain that they created themselves.
That targeting of energy sites is forcing oil prices up even more. And aside from a reference to a new aircraft joining the fight, we didn't hear much on the next steps to get that critical oil route, the Strait of Hormuz, reopened to finally bring some relief at the gas pump. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Coming up next year at 11, a turbulent trip for a cargo ship now docked at the port of Long Beach. How dozens of containers are now lost at sea.